What we now need to do to make our application as dynamic as possible is we want to replace the inventory utility that we have today, which is utilizing hard-coded data, and we want to replace it with a new utility class to handle inventory. That'll be our database inventory utility. But in order to do that and then even have flexibility moving forward, we want to actually standardize on the methods that need to exist in both this version of the utility and the database version. And then maybe in the future, we may move everything into web services. So we'll have a web service based version of the utility. But we want to make sure that the method calls are always the same so that our Windows Form app does not need to be updated continuously to get it working with the latest version. So what we're going to first do is we're going to take this class and we're going to generate an interface off of it. And the interface acts as a blueprint that we can then use when we create additional utilities. And then we can also use that same interface and use it as a data type. So instead of calling a specific class type, we can just call it based on the interface. And as long as the class that implements that interface or that says I'm following that blueprint, then it will work in our code. And it's kind of this dynamic thing that we can change out the pieces, but know that our code will still function as long as everyone's following the blueprint or the contract. So to create an interface, one of the easiest ways to do it is to right click on the class itself, and we can do a quick action, and we can choose extract interface. And when that comes up, we'll get an extract interface dialog, and the interface name will be the name of the class with the letter I in front of it. And that's a standard convention within .NET. Anytime you run across an interface, it always starts with a letter I, and that's so that visually when you're looking at it, it's I and the name of the piece of functionality. And that way you always know when you're looking at your code that more than likely if it has an I in front of it, it's probably an interface. Now the interface itself will reside inside of our quicklypos.business project. It will then be inside of the InventoryUtility.cs file. So that's just kind of giving you a rundown. And then what happens is all of the public members from the interface utility, which we only have one right now, the get inventory will be the methods that will be part of the contract or part of the blueprint. So it extracted or identified that get inventory is one of them. So we're going to go ahead and then hit OK, and then it's going to generate the interface. Now the interface is overly simplistic. It has no implementation. That means there's no do work or get stuff done. There's no bodies to those methods. They're simply method signatures, and that's the part that is the contract that we have to follow. So that means that we have to then create, whenever we implement this inventory utility interface, and we do it for a database or a web service or anything in the future, any sort of data model, we have to make sure that we have a method that will return a list of products, and it has the name get inventory. This is our contract. This is our interface. So now when we go to make our own database inventory utility, we can follow this same interface.